I get the sense that you are gently starting to embark on a journey, and you're using a word that is being used by a lot of people, and your use of it is different to what it's usually being used for. And I I I I want to hear from you, like, what, first of all, what your journey is that you see at the moment, and where you are right now.
Journey is to, yeah, it's a great question. Like to connect, like I need to, and that's exactly part of the journey. So it's to connect to myself within, whatever, like not my survival strategy, not my unconscious, irresponsible avoidance strategy, but really that beingness in me, this authentic self, or whatever you want to call it, to connect to that within, so that I can bring forth the piece that I have for the world. But it goes beyond that. Like, I've noticed that I've been playing in different game worlds. So I've been playing in different cultures or systems. And when I say play, it's like I've been immersed in them. And then when we're immersing in that, it becomes so real that I forget that I'm actually in a game world, in an artificial social construct. So I've been in modern culture. I was in a legal environment working as a lawyer, and there I noticed at some point, like, I cannot keep going. This doesn't work for me. Some part of me is shriveling up and it's not being fed or nourished here, and I don't want to keep going like that for the rest of my life. It's a waste of my life force that wants to come through. And so when I came across possibility management, I was like, oh, here, I'm not crazy. Others are on that quest, and they've found stuff that I haven't found, and it's so valuable. I go here. Like, this is where I get answers to my questions, or this is where I get to find my answers to the questions. And so for the last 8 years, I've been immersing in that culture, context, game world, and it's been immensely valuable. And recently I noticed I get to this place that I haven't been able to get through or shift through healing processes or the tools that are available in that game world. And I noticed that it has to do with me. It's like I don't even have these words for it, but there's this, like, the words I have is I'm severed from my roots. There's a severing in me from my roots, in that, and I can't even tell you what exactly the roots are, but it's this deeply rooted belief in the world. It's not even that, because I have that. I have a deeply rooted belief in the world. I have a deeply, and belief is also not the word, but knowing. I have an innate knowing of life in me, and I can doubt it. And there is more that I am not connected to consciously, that I also struggle to connect with consciously, because my mental body has been so conditioned, and I have conditioned it so well to work really as an incredibly sharp tool, but also an potentially incredibly destructive tool for myself, that I came to this point of, okay, where else can I look? And how, what is this thing that I can sense is like a gap in my structure, a gap to go deeper, or to really go into the depth of my roots. And then I had this question come up, like, what does it mean to be indigenous as a woman that was brought up in Germany? I spent the the largest part of my life in Germany. And looking around in Germany, I did not have any connection to indigenous German women. And when I say indigenous, I don't mean the women that run around in traditional costumes, but like the women that are authentically connected to their womanhood and their connection to something larger than them. And that can be things like, like if I look at indigenous cultures that are still alive today, like there's a connection to the earth, like honoring the earth and being in the cyclical nature of the earth, honoring the food that comes from the earth, honoring animals that are on the earth and that might be eaten, but still like with so much reverence that it's not about destroying life on the planet, it's about honoring it. And also the connection to other people, living in community and fostering and reverence to community, to other humans also. I mean, we're also animals. Like, why would we treat animals well but not humans? And there's something innately in humans, in me also, about connecting with other humans and being part of a collective that works as an organism, or not even work is not like moves as an organism or pulsates like an organism. And the other aspect is that I noticed in me that I can shift my stories and make more space for possibilities in me about unseen realms, and yet I keep coming up against a disbelief, and I sense that blocks me from unfolding my full potential, where I can experience certain things, like I can experience seeing someone's like a white line around someone's body, but then immediately go like, I forget about it, like fall asleep about it, and not research further. It's like, what is this actually about? Because I've not grown up in a culture, and I've not learned to date how to harness that and how to learn looking at auras, for example, which is totally crazy in modern culture perspectives. Like you're an esoteric hippie, and I'm glad that I've done enough work that doesn't affect me so much or not at all anymore. And still, there's a part in me that has a disbelief, and that is in the way for me to tap into resources that are invisible and that are, it could be something like energies that are not human life forms, or and also ancestors that I hear are available for us to speak with and communicate with. And I like, there's something in me that is blocked there, and I am on the quest to find out about it. Because I want to say more, because like I sense that the severing that I described earlier is part of why I, as a Western woman or Westerly born woman, was able to do what I did, which was to exploit myself, my own physical body, but my mental body, my life, by working for corporations, by working in environments that were not in service of life, not in service of the life that I'm talking to about here. Like, working, and I'm cautious because I worked with great people, and I it's not about that, but it's any modern culture business that is profit based and hierarchical and is committed to is not committed to regeneration, like not just on paper but in action, not committed to regeneration, is killing life on planet Earth, and every person that works there is doing the same. And I did that, and I am still driving a fossil fueled car, so I am part of the problem still. And it's not about being perfectionist. So my sense is that women that are so innately wired to birth life and to connect to other realms than just the visible or the physical, because they literally birth spirit, they birth something through their body into material life. When women start owning that which comes through them, and which I would at this stage call indigeneity, then they will stop. My hope is they will stop engaging in game worlds that are not in support of life, and they will start creating cultures, game worlds, projects, ways of being in the world. They will stand for that, and they will say stop to the stuff that's not in service of life. Yeah, so that's my research and my hope, and it includes women stopping to try to be the better men and negate that they are actually in a physical women's body, like physically in a woman's body, and that means they have a job in this world at this lifetime, and everybody gets to choose, do they accept the job or not, and 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 then we pay the price. Each one of us pays a price for the choices that we make.
I feel glad because as you speak, it just opens up so much wide territory. And I hear you, as you're speaking, you often get to a point where the words aren't there yet. And it's like you are waiting for the next piece to say, the next, what is this that I'm trying to say? And I feel glad. I feel glad that 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 you don't fully know what it is, and that you still have a necessity to go there, like to go to that part of you that has been severed, and to really find out what that is about. And I have this sense in me that what it is that you're stepping into is about you, like deeply personally about you, and because of that it's not about you, something like that. Like, yeah, would you speak about that?
Yes, I think it's accurate. It is. It starts in me, and I've noticed that a lot of times in my life, that when I really listen inside of me, then my research, my findings of my research inside me has something for the bigger picture. And I think that has something innately to do with being connected to a larger organism, being yeah, as I lean into that and hear your question, is like obvious. It's so obvious that I am not I'm not a separate encapsulated lifeless creature that is not that is cut off from her environment or from her surrounds or from, yes, it's like, of course of course what is in me has relevant for others, and of course what others have is relevant for me. It's like, of course. And I've noticed that, like, maybe we have different roles, but part of my role is to be the change, like to be the conduit or the, like a vessel, like it's like a receptor of listening and hearing. Yeah, I feel sad when I say that, of deep listening and hearing what's working for me and not working, and then that has information for the for the for the bigger system, the bigger game world, for the cultures, and for the world. yes, for the bigger picture. And what's come through me over the last months is something like a big, massive liquid state. So not knowing where to go, not knowing what's actually happening. And I hear that from a lot of people at this time. And coupled with that, a physical physical symptoms of something not working in my physical body. And largely related to my feminine organs, female organs. So I'm looking there and it's like, what's not working? And hello, body. I trust that my physical body is on my side. And when there's a symptom, that's like a signal from my body telling me something's not working. Look, listen now, here. Like first, I read this quote recently. Like, if you're not listening to the whispers of your being, or the whispers of your physical body, you will have to listen to the body screaming. And I believe it's not just on the physical level; it's the most profound, I guess, the most profound inner, so to speak, like revelations or insights that I've had have been quiet whispers. Yeah, there's so much information coming through seemingly quiet whispers where there's just this bing, bing, bing. And maybe that's part of the severing also that I talked about. It's like having an image of how things should be, and then this whisper doesn't fit in. And because it's only a whisper and I can just override it, it's like, I don't, later or never. God, too uncomfortable. I don't want to do that. So I'll just keep going with the stuff that doesn't actually serve me, or the integrity of my body, the wholeness of my body, the wholeness of my being, the wholeness of life in me. So yeah, bringing those together as if everything is in this, like the big thing, like the small things are in the big things. It's like, yes, my physical body is a vessel that has information, and that has also something for the bigger picture.
Yeah, I was as you're speaking, it touches me because this morning I took a walk on the beach and the stormy ocean had pulled up a lot of debris from the bottom of the ocean and put it up on the shore, and there was all these beautiful shells and driftwood and bits of kelp and all this stuff that just being pulled up. And also amongst it all was just rubbish as well, like hunks of plastic, like a shotgun cartridge, um, somebody's comb and rope and someone's shoe, and all this stuff as well, which is like a whisper. The ocean is also delivering these treasures up to the shore, and it's also delivering the symptoms of what is actually really going on as well. And I can choose to walk on and ignore that, and 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 there's a point at which that doesn't work anymore for me. Like numbing it just doesn't work anymore. Pretending I don't notice what I do notice. And I'm hearing in you a sensitizing of your own life force, and it just isn't working for you to numb anymore, or to pretend that you don't know what you do know.
Yes, and doesn't mean I don't numb. Like I still, I mean, I'm not, yeah, I'm not free from that, and yet I notice more. I keep, like, it's a journey of noticing more and more and more. And I think it comes, like, what's necessary with it is really this feeling, also the pain of then the noticing. So that's the becoming less numb part, sensitizing. Yes, and I think that's really one of the big um, Yeah, I mean, there's I pause because there's so much stirring in me. Like, part of the results we see locally, globally, is the numbing. People numbing themselves, and why do they numb themselves? I'm reading currently this amazingly clear book, Ishmael, and by Daniel Quinn. He describes it so clearly. It totally lands in me that we've learned to believe in the story that the world was made for man, changing it to mean like, yeah, maybe also woman, but like the way it's lived out in the mainstream still is like, world is made for man, and we're the pinnacle of evolution, and it stops with us, and we're flawed at the same time. So if what's happening is it's just like the gods made that, like, we're not taking responsibility, we're blaming it on the gods or other creatures and not taking responsibility, and that is like, there is a numbness that comes with that, numbness of, well, we're doomed anyway, it's hopeless in a way, like it stops with us because we're the pinnacle of evolution. And yeah, and this is I guess like being indigenous, or being, it starts being in a body, like living in a body. I have a physical body. As a human being, I have a physical body, and when I really connect with that, I cannot not notice that it's fucking similar. I don't really want to use swear words, but it's incredibly similar to the Earth's body. Like, when I spread my father's ashes in the ocean, I could see it. It's like, it's really dust. It's like stardust, dust. It was almost the same color as the sand that I was standing on. And also, like, in the cremation process, I asked some questions, and they said, yeah, this is like the bones when they burn, also burning bones here in the fire pit of animals. I cannot not see that this looks incredibly similar to a piece of wood being burned. Like, to be indigenous is like coming back into the orchestra of life, becoming a part of life and not taking ourselves out of it. And I do that personally by letting the life come through me, and that means I feel, and that means I sense, that means I smell, that means I live not only in the head and in constructs about the world. I come into reality, I come into this physical realm, and from there I can then, I think that's maybe a paradox, but from there I can then access all these other realms powerfully. And first, like, I need a physical experience. So that is where I'm at right now also, like having a physical, like, how do I honor this physical experience in a human body when I am not just that. I'm not just that, and in this lifetime, this is my experiment, and I can be, yeah, I want to say that also, that I can be an asshole, I can be a destruct, like I can be like a destroyer of the world. I can, not just the world in the large, like making it really specific, I can destroy relationships in my life, I can be mean with people, I can be mean with myself, all of that. Like, I have the capacity of that. Like, we have, as humans, we can kill people, we can kill, and I have that capacity as a human being. Of course I do. I do not have to pretend I don't. But I also have the capacity to be great in a way of, yeah, I feel scared that this is now like a good or bad dynamic, but I also, no, not great, but like, I have this capacity also to be a sacred, like a guardian for the sacred in the world. for the beauty in the world. I can be a guardian for life. I can take a bold stand for life on the planet and in me. It's not out there, it's right here. And I have that capacity too, and I get to choose which one I feed and nurture and which one I direct my energy towards. And that's the choice that each one of us has in this day and age. And yeah, and I think like the piece where I'm at now is that piece of, it's not done, like I don't do that alone, and I also don't do that only with human beings. Like I look into cows' eyes and I see they stand there, they look in my eyes and they say, we're here, we're waiting for you humans, wake up, like, let's go. Like you have, like we humans, we have such an incredibly possibility of being consciousness in action, of being conscious, like, and to enact, like the way we can enact it. I think maybe the consciousness levels could be similarly potential in other beings, but as humans we have the capacity to act in unique ways and to make really use of that in the most beautiful way possible. Why not? That's part of the indigeneity of being indigenous to the planet in a human body. And I look especially on a woman's body because this is the incarnation I've chosen, and I am convinced that this is the job of women at the moment, at this time, is to go first in claiming that. And then it is not just for women. It's not about men against women or women against men. It's not about creating separation, but it's about honoring that which has not been honored for too long, and to reclaim that, and to provide the wisdom that only women, maybe at this day and age, can channel and really bring into this life.
Yeah. And it seems like the part about the documenting this is it's saying there is a necessity to document in you, like a necessity to go with these quite big questions that you have, quite big necessity to reconnect to the earth and yourself and your body and source, and to radically rely on what it is that's in you, to also be something that is become something for other people. And how is it that you, what is it, what is the story that you hope to tell, and how do you see yourself telling that story?
Good question. I hope to tell a story as sort of a bridge or a path of, like, when I say I'm wanting to document Indigenous women, people go, oh yeah, we're like, which cultures? And when I say Germany, it's a surprise. Like, I start in Germany. And so what I want to show is, like, through, in a way, I want to hear women's voices speak, and it's like distilling an essence. I want to distill an essence and put it into an imagery that creates like sort of a story that can be followed. And at this stage, I see also, like, as images, I see speaking and filming in everyday life women that are working in maybe 9-to-5 office jobs, or successful women in modern culture ways, and speaking with them about the severing, like distilling more about what do they know about being indigenous or not, and then building the bridge to these women that are reclaiming their indigeneity and the different results that brings, or I want to show the potential. It's not about saying one way is wrong. It's more about looking at what is the potential and how can we as women take steps there. What are some tangible things women can do as they watch maybe the documentary, and then they go, okay, what about I put my feet on the ground every day after waking up? Or what about I look for other women and I start having a women's circle and I start actually nurturing this indigenous woman in myself that knows about the connectedness of all, that knows about the pain of I don't know what, and of whatever. Like each woman has her own pains, and to make space for that, so that there's then an opening or a curiosity at least, and an opening to to go on that path herself. And in there I see this possibility and necessity of having sort of a back end to the documentary where there are spaces that women can say, hey, I want to find out more. How do I do that now for me? And there's a whole container of women that can hold space for emotional healing processes, for somatic experiences, for whatever is necessary, like to start building out that container together, and also to be on a journey while documenting, so that already through being on the journey of this documentation, women can start to implement or to try out things that they might witness in clips or in things that I share along the way. So don't know whether that answers your question. I don't have the clarity of the whole thing. I don't know what it will develop, and that's the part of the research. I like my hypothesis, the basic assumption that I'm going with is what I explained before. It's like that indigeneity comes through women, and in every woman, I didn't say that before, but that every woman is indigenous to the earth in a way that she is so deeply connected to the earth, to people, and to spirit, or whatever you want to call it, to the unseen realms, to that which is bigger than her. That each woman reclaiming that or honoring that would make for shifts in the world that would really fuel evolution into the direction of our sacred, I call it like a sacred job in the world, rather than the destructive job in the world. So that's what I hope to show, or to find out that how this goes, and provide tangible experiences or experiments for that.
Yeah. And I get what I hear is there's something brave about you choosing to document this, because a lot of my experience of being with you for some time, and also being in spaces where something precious is emerging through a woman are very delicate spaces. And it's part of the project that's opening up for you at the moment, is to bring a camera or bring recording stuff into that sort of a space, and to somehow, with like integrity and honesty, to tell that story, tell the stories that are often, well, they always come from an experience before there are words. Mm.
And that is the challenge, right? I have started the research months ago, or at least consciously, and in conversations with one woman who has spent quite a lot of time with people that live in indigenous today, like in Peru. you mentioned that too. It's like, yeah, this will be, you can't, like with indigenous women or people that practice that indigeneity, there it's all about experience. So it's not about sitting down and having a philosophical conversation. And yeah, I'm glad you're bringing that up, because what if that is the same for women that are connecting to their indigeneity in Germany, when it's less about talking and more about being with and filming what is happening and making it visible to the eye and then narrating it. I don't know. But yeah, I want to say that with this word, I have also some fear, because, like, for one, I don't mean to appropriate that there have been people that have been colonized and they call themselves indigenous. And I mean, I think Germans also have been colonized, even though they were the colonizers in large part, or Westerners. But I don't mean to take away from that. Like and it's not about going back to an old way of living. It's more about finding the gold in being indigenous as a way of being that is for the future, that that can inform the future. Yeah.
And will you? Yeah, I think it matters to speak about how to pe how for people to come on board with you, because there is something in this project that you aren't going alone, and that are you are radically doing the research, and you're asking for what you need as well.
Yes. And this is my edge too. And I'm willing to learn. So what matters is that this is not a one woman show. Like, you are on board, Millicent, for this project, and there are other women already supporting with their time, with their quests, feeding into, like, yeah, delivering information. And I've created, with your help, I've created a Patreon page so that people can follow this journey and decide how close they come. And then also, like, so there's ways of exchanging, so paying, so that I can do this project. Not just me, we can do this, like the women involved in creating this documentary. So there's a way of following distinctions that we find out about, or like in posts for a monthly contribution, like a little monthly contribution. And then there's a way of coming closer in and paying a bit more to get also some video content per month. And then there's a way of saying, hey, I really want to claim my own indigeneity as we're on this journey together, as I follow your project. I want also like a one-on-one 45-minute session with you, like with me, where people can ask me questions, or they can also have like listening spaces, or like ask questions about the documentary or about their own indigeneity and where they may be stuck. So I can offer my coaching, listening, interviewing, space holding skills for them to come closer to themselves. And then there's a way of simply saying, yeah, all of that or none of that, and I want to just sponsor. I want this to fly. I want to invest in this non-material value that you are creating for the world. Here is, I think at the moment, like it's an equivalent of €1,000, but there's no limit to that. Like, contact me, and like, if you have funds and you don't have time for the visionary stuff that I'm doing with a team of women, then yeah, this would be for people like that. That would be for you. So there's this different tiers, so to speak, to engage, different ways to engage. And yeah, and also YouTube channel and a and an Instagram feed to keep, to follow and let yourself be informed and let yourself be changed by the research, just like it will change me and just like it will change you, Millicent, and everybody that comes close and lets herself be touched, or himself. This is not even exclusive for women. Like, men can be sitting on the sidelines watching as women discover their indigeneity. There might be things that are relevant for men. There might be things that are relevant for the men that have a woman in their life, so that they can hold space for her more, so that she can unfold, so that they can also become more. It's like, we're not separate. We're in this together. And yeah, it matters to me that it unfolds in a specific feminine way, which is, there is not a planned out structure. There is a intention, and that is becoming ever more clear. And there is, I think it is time to get also to some structure, but it needs to be really just a skeleton onto which the documentary can unfold.
Wow. I get the sensation of being on the edge of a very emerging form. And I really appreciate your courage to stay with the emerging form and to still find the words and find the sentences and the images, and be honest with the pieces that you do have, and to let what you don't have yet also be here. It feels really alive in my system. And thank you for your courage to be able to be with a project like this.
Being on the team of it, like, I think there are certain things in life that I cannot not do them, and this is one of them. I cannot not follow that.
What is one thing that you would like to say to the woman, like the indigenous part of a woman? One thing that you would like each woman to know?
Well, I would like them to know, and I don't know that I can say that, like, that it lands when I say that, but I would like each woman to know that she is not crazy for wanting things different, and that she's not alone. Like, you're not alone in your quests. As crazy as these quests might seem inside of you, you are not crazy and you're not alone. And yeah, to make this real, reach out, find other women, find us, go through the healing doorways necessary, that you can actually start to believe that and live it. Life is to be lived.
Thank you, Julia.